Hi everybody and welcome to Daily Deco. I'm Mark and this is Shaun and
Hello.
We're here to talk about the scuba diving industry and just interesting
let's not talk about that
underwater
today.
stuff.
Let's talk about Barbies.
Yeah. Big news in Barbie news. So on the Simply Scuba website, as we said yesterday, lots of sort of little things are starting to arrive and get booked in. So Shaun and I, we had a quick look this morning. We saw some Hollis BCDs, the LTS, and some harnesses, oceanic regulators, sort of compasses, a few dive computers as well. Some very colourful shadow masks. They're sort of coming into stock. So keep checking back basically.
Things are slowly trickling in, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's it. Where, of course, new company that owns us. Of course, they don't really know the products, and if something turns up and it doesn't have a barcode, then they don't know what it is. So it takes a moment to sort of work things out and get all the different companies to kind of mesh together nice and neatly. But yeah, we're getting there.
Let's do that.
That is the.
See what sticks. That's how businesses work, guys.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. So jumping straight into sort of underwater scuba news. So the first thing is a nice news story about a chap called Khalid Zaki, and he is basically sort of a big promoter of sort of marine debris collections, and so basically every time he goes into the water, he's encouraging people to sort of collect as much marine trash as possible. And he says basically it's as easy as just bringing a small mesh bag with you. If you see cigarette butts or anything that shouldn't be there, then you can just put it in the mesh bag and get it out of the ocean. So it's a great sort of advocacy for sort of debris cleanups. And just basically getting into a routine of every single time you go for a dive, if you see something, then just take it out. Okay. Now, there's big sort of debate over should you remove this item if something's living on it or if something's using it. There's that sort of grey area where it's kind of already become part of the environment. Personally, I was never a huge fan of that because, my very first sort of cleanup, they said, yeah, basically if there's any algae or anything kind of growing on whatever it is, then kind of you have to leave it there. I mean, this was years and years ago. I imagine it's sort of changed since then. But yeah, you'd have these sort of plastic bottles that have like a few specks of algae kind of on it, and you're like, well, I don't want to leave that plastic bottle there because eventually that's going to break down. And okay, it's got a small patch of algae on it sort of right now, but realistically, it would be better to sort of take that out and sort of sacrifice that teeny tiny bit of algae for that plastic bottle that could potentially do a lot of damage. But yeah, it's always encouraging. Whenever I go on a dive, I usually come back with sort of my thigh pockets or whatever kind of pockets I have just chock full of stuff, or like a handful of fishing line that I found. It's always worth, whenever you go out, just to sort of collect a little bit. Quite a few companies are now producing these kind of mesh sort of grab bags. So you don't need the huge grab bags. Fourth Element do one which is sort of nice and compact, just something that you can just clip off to a D-ring or kind of stow away in a pocket. And then if you see something, you can take it out. And it's mesh, so it's not going to be a big parachute, but you can sort of store lots of sort of debris in there and get it out of the ocean.
That's cool, man. Do you reckon training agencies are going to put that in training for new divers? Or encourage it? Obviously not on their try dives and stuff, but like...
Yeah, no, that is quite a good idea.
You're welcome.
I haven't heard it before, but yeah, it might be worth sort of throwing that sort of at the end of a... an open water, or maybe even your kind of next course, so that you're kind of training divers from the get-go. Yeah, if you see something and it's in this condition, then sort of remove it. Whereas if it's got a hermit crab in it or something, then yeah, maybe we kind of leave it for the time being. Yeah, no, that's quite an interesting proposal. Well done, Shaun.
You're
nice to see
welcome.
that you're spearheading this idea.
I mean, I'll put the plastic in there first, so then it looks like, you know, they're clearing up loads.
Yeah, there's a.
Well, what would you do? You'd collect it all. You've got a nice bag, and you're like, loads of rubbish in this bag, and then you drop it. No, it's all weighted.
Well, at least then it's all kind of in one place, and hopefully it won't kind of.
But it'll be
around.
it'll be a mesh bag from Wish, and it hits the seabed, and it just opens up and blah. No, an explosion. Yeah, an explosion underwater. That's my contribution. See, I went from something very sensible about helping clearing up to explosions underwater. You're welcome, guys. This is
that is your usual MO.
This is the quality content that you get.
That is Shaun
in this video.
The next news story comes from Sabah, and this is the scuba dive centre of the year, sort of global, worldwide, has been announced, and this is Scuba Junkie. Yeah, this is a dive centre in Sabah, and they have won Dive Magazine's Best Scuba Diving Dive Centre or Resort in the World for 2020.
It's because they're the only ones that were open.
Well, that's kind of it. I mean, obviously that's not why they won, but so when interviewed, they said, "We are honoured to have won this award. It has been a difficult year for everybody," which it definitely has. So it's heartening to have the ongoing support from our guests in this way, and that came from the founder and director of Scuba Junkie, Richard Owen. Cool. Definitely whenever there are a sort of awards sort of going, then they usually roll it out to the public. So quite a few of the magazines, they do a yearly kind of poll, basically asking people, who do you like as best brand, best product, and all that kind of stuff. So if you ever do see anything, it only takes about sort of 5-10 minutes. It's free, and all it requires is like an email address. So if you're like me, you've got about 6 different email addresses. You just pick the sort of whichever one you want. And, But it does mean a lot to whoever you do pick, and whoever sort of becomes the winner of whatever category it is. It does mean a lot that there is that kind of recognition. So if you do see any kind of vote for such and such, do take a few minutes to fill out the forms, because it's nice. It's a nice feeling when you win an award.
Definitely.
Yes, today's episode of Daily Deco is sponsored by our very own Teespring store. So if you've never watched the show before, then you probably haven't heard this spiel before. But Simply Scuba, we run our very own merchandise store via Teesprings. So at the bottom of most of our YouTube videos, you'll see a little sort of banner which has a few t-shirts. Those are actually ones that Shaun, myself, and a few other designers at Simply Scuba have come up with. And it's a very it's a very easy and eco-friendly way of sort of handling merchandise. So how it basically works is Teesprings, they hold stock of t-shirts, but they're all blank. They also have sort of sweatshirts and hoodies and socks and all sorts of other stuff, but they're all completely blank. So what that means is, as soon as you sort of go to the website, you find a funky Simply Scuba design that you like on a t-shirt, you then pick your size, you pick your color, and you pick your design, and then as soon as you place your order, then they sort of make it and they ship it directly to you. So it means that there isn't any excess stock of sort of 3 extra smalls and 4 extra larges. They only make what they need, and they ship it directly to you. And right now, Shaun and myself, we are offering you 15% off of your Teesprings order through Simply Scuba if you use the product discount code Daily Deco at checkout. So yeah, you can find yourself a new diving t-shirt, sort of pick the color and the size that you want, and at checkout just put in Daily Deco, all one word, and that will get you 15% off.
Well done, that was great.
Yeah. And I don't think I coughed once.
You didn't. Congratulations. Your COVID is finally lowering
in recession.
Yes. There was a comment on yesterday's Daily Deco where someone, obviously we said, what ideas do you want? and then they said about the cave shark on a face mask. And even before we filmed this video, I made it go live because it took 2 seconds.
Yeah, it is quite easy for us to sort of put existing designs on things. So yeah, if you want to see anything in sort of slightly different sizes or whatever, yeah, let us know down in the comments. Or if you do have any unique designs, if you want to see, I don't know, a cat riding a shark, let us know and we'll sort of draw something up.
We won't do that.
Sean will do that.
Sean will not do that.
On MS Paint, though.
Oh, that's a bit too advanced for me. I'm still doing dot to dot, and I still can't match it. And I can't colour in lines either. Why am I in the marketing business?
Yeah, no one knows, to be honest. So the next news story comes. This is from the Caribbean, and this is actually a diver was just doing her thing, sort of scuba diving around, when she came across just a patch of butchered parrotfish. And she recorded some video as sort of evidence, and then it's gone quite viral on sort of social media to try and sort of find out who the culprit was. Because parrotfish are a protected species, sort of where they are, and if you're caught catching or sort of with a parrotfish in your possession, I think you can face like 2 years in jail and a $25,000 fine. So they're quite serious about it. And this was quite a few parrotfish. There were I couldn't count all of them, but yeah, multiple parrotfish, and they've basically been filleted. So they've had all the meat kind of stripped from them and then just sort of thrown back in the ocean, and their bodies are just kind of rolling around in the waves. And so again, just to sort of raise a little bit of awareness and to try and sort of hunt down the culprits. Obviously, goes on to, yeah, it's tough because in that area, of course, any small boat can just almost go wherever they want at any time of the day, and they were obviously there for quite some time, sort of catching these fish, and then they filleted them. They obviously knew what they were doing was wrong because they threw the bodies sort of straight back, sort of in the water where they are, and then just hightailed it out of there. But it's terrible, and what can we do? You can't really stop people from just sort of having boats and fishing, but it was quite clear that they were targeting parrotfish. And I don't know, I presume selling the meat on as something else. Who knows? It's one of those things. Yeah, it's sad to see because they are beautiful fish.
They're also tasty.
Well,
I guess.
I presume that's why. Parrotfish, I presume, in certain markets they can get a decent amount of money for it, so that's what they're trying to do.
It tastes like chicken.
Everything tastes like chicken, apparently.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, because that's the thing, though. Like, unless it went on like the black market where they can go, here's some parrotfish. You know, you can't really go on social media and go, oh, I've got parrotfish for sale.
Yeah, no.
So it's got to go under rock or some other fish, and it's just like, well, then what's the point? What's the point of it?
Yeah,
if you're advertising it as something else.
Yeah, I don't even know how you get a taste for parrotfish. So
it's the upper class, man. We love parrotfish.
Yeah, like our swans. It's supposed to be quite fishy swan meat. I heard from someone.
Oh yeah, one of your dodgy mates again, Mark. He has it in prison. Swan steak every night.
On a rebreather, they don't see you coming.
You heard it here first, guys. That's what Mark does. He's a sneaky rebreather.
No bubbles.
No bubbles.
The final news story comes from Miami, so a little bit further north from the Caribbean, and this is one of those. What do you call it, Sean? Like a projected sort of concept art.
Yeah,
for a marine sculpture park in Miami or off the coast of Miami. So there's been plenty So that around there, I think I mentioned last week that a lot of veterans are doing a lot of coral sort of gardening, sort of out in sort of Tampa Bay. But now sort of these sort of concept designs have come out of this project, which is called the Reef Line, and this has been conceived by a sort of an artist, an art collector. Oh, good heavens, Zamina Caminos. So they're basically planning to create this thing, which is concrete coral, and it's these huge sort of art sculptures, and it ranges from just sort of cars that look to be in traffic for whatever reason,
because it's funny, because it's underwater.
But eventually coral is going to start sort of growing on it to the really amazing one, which is a giant sort of spiral, but it's hollow. So this is going to be a wonderful, if it ever sort of comes to fruition, this will be great for coral because it'll be good for all the filter feeders. It's got lots of sort of light and water flow running through it, lots of surface areas. And it's also quite good for sort of snorkelers and free divers and scuba divers as well, to be able to kind of get inside a reef as well. And if it's anything like the concept art, it will be quite stunning.
Trippy, mate, trippy.
Yeah. The way they've done it, it's like one of those optical illusions where it's all these kind of Penrose steps kind of going around in each other in a spiral. It's very cool. It's definitely worth sort of checking out the concept art. But yeah, if and when, I don't know if there is a projected sort of build date, or whether it's just one of these. Oh, we'll build it when
tomorrow.
Build it. No, it's just an article that basically says this is it. So the group is best known for producing Animal Collective's cosmic audio visual album Tangerine Reef that was released in 2018. If you want to check that out, there'll be a link in the article. But yeah, I quite like all these kind of funky things like the underwater statues and all that kind of stuff, because it's a little bit different, something for us to look at, because you can dive a shipwreck so many times, and you've kind of seen it. So you can dive sort of reefs as well, and after a while, a reef is a reef. But yeah, some underwater artwork is always sort of interesting, and these ones, the way it works is basically they put it down, you see it when it's kind of first there, and it's very beautiful. But then when you come back in a few years' time, all sorts of algae and coral and sort of sponges have started to kind of grow on it. That's just
it's cool, man.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Also, as well, this sort of thing is if they have like a flatbed, there's nothing there before. Nothing was going to grow there because of the sand or whatever. There wasn't much of a bed for coral. It gives it an extra life, doesn't it? So it's good.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it also helps sort of prevent a lot of sort of fishing practices, because a lot of sort of the bigger boats can't go sort of near it, and they're just going to end up losing their gear on it, so they're not going to go too close to it. It's a good sort of unofficial sort of marine protected area, because the fish they find that kind of shelter, and as you say, it would be just a kind of a barren desert before that, but now
also as well, like with the whole climate issues, coral bleaching, they could be selective with what coral they put in there, so future generations can see that coral and it can thrive in those conditions, rather than if you were to take something that potentially has been bleached or is adhered to water temperatures, they could all die. So you're almost future proofing certain coral species as well, which is good.
It's all very cool, and it's very pretty. We need more things like this in our waters. We don't tend to see too much of that off the coast of Kent, do we, Shaun?
No, but you can't even see a scenery in front of you off the coast of Kent. It's just a brown bleh.
I heard a story of a chap who literally, the visibility was so bad that he swam into a wreck without even knowing it.
That sounds about right.
he was just swimming, and all of a sudden he came across this thing, and he was like, "Oh dear!" And then as he was like sort of looking around, he realised he was actually inside the shipwreck. So he just swam straight through an opening without even knowing. It took him quite a while to be able to find his way back out.
But that makes you a scuba diver. If you could dive in UK waters, you are well and truly a scuba diver.
Yeah, look by touch. And if you turn your torch on, it just makes things worse.
Yes, of course. Oh, look, it's gone from brown haze to a white, murky, even worse haze. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's like high beam in the snow. It just it makes it even worse. Anyway, that's it for today's show. As ever, if you have any interesting news stories, then let us know down in the comments below. If you have any questions, comments, queries, corrections, anything, then sort of let us know down in the comments below. All questions will be answered in our Friday show, which is in a couple of days' time. We kind of combine all the sort of big, interesting sort of questions, and we put them into one big Q&A show. So we'll run through and just kind of elaborate on the answers there. As ever, thank you for watching, and safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers. My voice broke then, so stay classy, scuba divers.